A company that produces men's cologne had been advertising the products in general circulation magazines for several years. Then one year, the company decided to advertise its cologne exclusively in the sports magazine with a predominantly male readership. That year, the company sold fewer bottles of cologne than it had in any of the 3 immediately preceding years. I'm like, this is not a logic game. It's like, we should not use words like immediately preceding. But we know this. So what were our 2 facts here, Brittany?
That they sold cologne in general circulation magazines.
Mm-hmm.
And then they sold cologne in, let's see, sports magazines with only guys, and they sold less.
Yeah, so what was your prediction here of why this happened?
I mean, I thought it had something to do with women because it said predominantly male.
Okay, so what do you mean it had to do with women? Like women were buying this men's cologne?
Yeah, like women were buying them for like their husbands.
Oh, okay, I like that. That was a good prediction. Did anybody else have that was not my prediction. Did anybody else have a different prediction?
That was my prediction.
I had the same thing too.
Oh, you guys are way clever. Mine was just like maybe like the number of people that it reaches. Like maybe like the sports magazines, like maybe more men total read the other magazines than this male dominant magazine did. But all right, cool. And so then
I was thinking the same because sometimes men don't typically buy for themselves. They get gifts. And that was my whole
part. Like no, you're hitting it spot on. I'm like, I think every girlfriend my brothers have ever had has gotten them cologne, like through like, so yeah. All right, so A says TV advertising reaches more people than does magazine. Like already I was like, we don't care. We're not comparing TV to magazines, right? So it's like, that's irrelevant. That doesn't explain the difference between the 2. B says the general circulations magazines in which the company placed its advertisements experienced a large rise in circulation recently. Well, that doesn't, we're not talking about, that would make sense if we had like switched these and it went up whenever we were doing this the second time, but this doesn't explain why we went down for the predominantly male. So we can cross B off. C says most, which what does most mean, Shelby?
More than 50%?
Yeah, but once again, that's just like most men don't wear cologne. Cool. That doesn't explain from general circulation to male magazines, correct? And then Amani, why is D's literally sorry, I was gonna ask you for why D is correct, but it's literally our prediction. How many people had this prediction? And then when you saw this, you're like, yes. Did it feel good?
Yeah, I had the prediction. I was
so
afraid.
good.
That's like, yes, I did it. And that's how we're going to eventually get faster, right? Is by making these, and sometimes our predictions are going to be wrong, but we have to go slow now and work on this. You have to force yourself to try to make these predictions right now, even when we get to harder questions, because this is where we're really going to see growth down the road. And then lastly, for E, successful advertisement for men's clones often feature well-known athletes. Cool, but that doesn't explain why we went down. And so that's why the answer is D.